Attachment is forbidden. Possession is forbidden. Compassion, which I would define as unconditional love, is central to a Jedi's life. And so you might say that we are encouraged to love.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Journey with PKD. I hope this message finds you well wherever you are in your journey. And we're going to get right into it with this week's topic on love. Yes, as we approach Valentine's Day, I thought it fitting to talk about love and perhaps give some new ways to think about love as you go throughout this week. First off, it's probably important to mention that this is one of the biggest topics ever. So don't worry, we won't be going into a deep dive. I just wanted to give some takeaways and some food for thought for this week that you can mull over and perhaps think about in a different way when it comes to Valentine's Day and love itself. And also it's important to know kind of what dimension of love I'm going to be talking about. Because there is a limit in the English language when we talk about love. Which kind of love are we talking about? C.S. Lewis, the great writer, mentioned and categorized love into 4 loves. He mentioned that there are 4 types of love, starting with affection, which is the majority of our experiences, ranging from love of books and hobbies and old clothes and certain experiences we may have, to holding our pets in our hands and just relaxing with them on a nice summer day, to a mother holding her child and in her arms and just feeling affection for their child. That would be affectionate love, the majority of our experiences. Then there's other categories like friendship, the the bonds we can develop with others, true friendship and fellowship, not asking for an exchange of something, you do this and then I do this, but an actual true, what he would describe too as a heavenly bond, something close to resembling a beautiful shared connection. Then there's the romantic love, the Eros, which we'll be diving into today. And that's the romantic love. Everything from the feelings, the butterfly feelings, the infatuation, the obsessions, if you will, to a true, balanced, loving, amazing relationship in romantic love and what's possible there. And then agape love, love of the Father, love of God, unconditional love. In the Gospel of John, there is no greater love than this, than he that lays his life down for a friend. That kind of love, sacrificial love. So there are different dimensions to talk about love on. And it's important to mention that. So it's more clear how it can relate to your journey and what I'm talking about this week, which is the nuance and potential expansion of yourself within the Eros love department. Also the traps and the pitfalls that come with that. I started this with Anakin, and so we'll get into that a little bit deeper, but this is where I'd like to draw your attention to. Love, you might not think of it in this way, but I propose to perhaps view it as a springboard and opportunity to bring you into a higher, more connected you with the various parts of yourself. I've mentioned in previous videos from Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth and different Jungian concepts, the psychologist Carl Jung, that we have these various parts within ourselves that are trying to work things out. It's a multi-layered business, and we have within us many different parts that are trying to come into harmony with each other. And I would propose that the only way that they do is with love. So maybe this is a 5th love that we could add to C.S. Lewis's great work. The archetypal, metaphysical, and symbolic dimension of love, uniting the different forces within us. That's part of our transformation of consciousness as beings in this world. So an example of what I'm talking about is your intellect and your emotions. 2 vastly different worlds and 2 vastly different territories that have to come in balance within ourselves. If one is too imbalanced, and they can be taken as separate things as well, so the intellect can be seen as just the intellect, and it may be needing love just in the intellectual sphere itself. Perhaps our thoughts are imbalanced in the sense that we are too negative on ourselves, or that we think habitual thoughts we don't like, or that we feel that there are blocks or challenges within our own mind. So there's a love that needs to be brought in a balance that can be brought within that dimension. And you can say the same with your emotions. Emotions can be having a wide range within its dimensionality of experiences. It can be flowing very nicely and freely and openly, or there can be blocks from trauma. There can be psychological blocks that go very deep, wounds that we don't let free and express them. And so there needs to be love in bringing our emotional natures into more harmony just within themselves. And then, as I mentioned, there's the coming together of the two, bringing in the concept of the three, something else I've talked about, where love can help bring those two together, your intellect and your emotions. And this is so important within the Eros, the erotic, if you will, the Eros love, the romantic love, because everything is spinning, and can be, if you've experienced this, spinning so wildly, sometimes so heightened, sometimes right on the edge of the unknown, that things can get lost in translation. Spheres, if you will, of consciousness can quickly wobble out of control, or they can send you into higher heights. This is the nuance I wanted to bring in regards to into Valentine's Day in this Eros love. Anakin mentions, it's attachment that's forbidden, but love is encouraged, you might say, for a Jedi. So there's this idea of right there, this razor's edge to walk with love, that we can recognize there's a tragic element. There's a Romeo and Juliet aspect to love that can take us down a not good path, right? We can fail these tests in the sense that we can not be balanced or not be connected correctly in how those emotions and our thoughts can get jumbled up. And away we can go on all sorts of journeys. And this is so valuable and important to know, because if you view it as just something you're going to just experience, cycles can repeat themselves, and perhaps until we're at a level of consciousness that's a little bit more aware of what's going on. And we may continue similar patterns that we don't like, repeating relationships with similar partners in the way that we connect with people, where someone's filling a certain void that shouldn't be filled by another person. Maybe it's a validation element. Maybe we're seeking to be more secure in someone else's affection because we didn't receive a lot of affection when we were younger, or all sorts of ways and dynamics it can play out. But it's important to remember that there's a journey for the consciousness to go on, that we don't start. I mentioned this in the previous video. We don't start with all of this known, and even if we did know, it's different than the wisdom of knowing, of going through something. And love has this amazing ability to be the only thing, I would say, that can unite these opposites within us, and then obviously the opposites within our partners, and then how we flow together as a couple. And so you can see this from a very, very optimistic standpoint, that there is the greatest opportunity ever when your body is alive in all the various ways that it is. Signals are being sent that you're breathing deeper, your chest is out, you're walking with your shoulders back, you're skipping on air. Those feelings are actually a gift to higher states of consciousness and a deeper connection with the divine. I would argue that that's what it's really all about, which in turn will benefit a more expanded conscious you for all areas of your life. That this is really the game that's going on here. And it's not something that like, oh, you're just using somebody for that experience. I don't mean it in the sense of that it's just this imaginary thing. Another partner comes into your life and that's what's happening. I don't mean to imply that at all. I'm simply stating that there is an opportunity with love. The beauty of love is that we can connect with the deeper aspects of ourselves, share that then with others. Again, all those different types of loves are informed by deeper experiences of being truly connected within ourselves. So we'll have more affectionate love, as C.S. Lewis brought up, friendship love, romantic love, agape love, when we are like a tuning fork, in tuned with ourselves in a higher way. I've made this mistake. I failed these tests before, if you want to frame it that way, of having heartbreak spiral me down, going the Romeo and Juliet version of I couldn't handle that level of feeling in a proper way. In fact, it exposed where I had errors, if you will, in the way I went about things. Did I put something on a pedestal that shouldn't, or someone on a pedestal that shouldn't have been placed in that way, where only the divine should be, where only God should be? Did I invert that? Did I twist that a little bit and distort it? And the hard truth for me that I learned was I did do that. I did place that person in those feelings ahead of that which is the all-giving, life-giving love of the divine. And it's important to realize that. It took me a long time to really understand the wisdom of that, because there was a lot of heartbreak and tears and confusion. And even if I perhaps knew something was off within myself about it, or the experience, or I didn't really know what to do with it, it doesn't change the fact that it's still an opportunity, and still can be, even when you reflect on it years later as one grows as a person, to go deeper and connect in a better way. And when I mean better, I mean where the true love, that love itself doesn't get distorted, that we don't start blaming and victimizing love, or it's all girls or women that did this, and that we don't go that way, that we see a potential amazing truth that is trying to blossom like a flower, trying to open to us. Again, another gift from God. Should your consciousness be aware of this, to see him deeper, to understand that it is deeper. And I think this is a wonderful thing, a nuanced way to look at it, because it involves being heroic. And we talk a lot about the hero's journey. Being open to that idea, being vulnerable to that, to the capacity for that awakening to come about, or the tragic fall of the opposite that could happen, is regardless of which way you go, and if you say get it right on the first time or you don't, it has the amazing capacity to do that, to transform our consciousness to a higher state of being, not just for ourselves, but when you contact the divine in a really true, authentic, sincere way, and you come kicking and screaming, brokenhearted, completely devastated from, say, the fall of a romantic relationship, where we do attach ourselves, as we say we might not want to, in that unhealthy way, but we do, the benefits are, or possibilities of what is on the other side of that, are still there. And that's amazing. So whether we are informed by movies in our culture, or romantic love movies like The Notebook or Titanic, again, Romeo and Juliet, or these classic love stories that have themes that are similar throughout time, what I want you to think about this week is how in your life, no matter what stage you're at, where you find yourself, maybe you're wiser in your older years and you've been married for a long time, and you're now cultivating a deeper sense of love in your later years that you know serves you differently now than the beginnings of young love, when something is first introduced, to remember that it's about uniting those different parts of ourselves, that doing that is a heroic thing. It takes courage to do that, to step back up and do that. I didn't want to do that. These are the kind of questions we face. When my dog passed away, Rocky, a question that was often asked was, "Are you getting another one?" And it was so quick that I couldn't even relate to that. I know everybody's different, and some people go right along, but everyone's at a different place. But there's this opportunity, this amazing opportunity to get in touch with the various parts of ourselves and put together this puzzle, put together the pieces. And the only thing that glues that all together is love. The only thing that brings those parts of us, our various natures, is love. And then that's what we're going to share with somebody. And hopefully somebody that sees that within us and we see it within them, and we complement each other in that way. So it goes very, very deep. But I wanted to bring that up, perhaps not often thought about on Valentine's Day, and again, it has its different roots in Christian and Roman history of the different various stories of how it came to be, but it's about love. And just like with Christmas, don't get jaded by it. Even if you're in that place, try not to be. Just like with innocence in Christmas, in that childlike wonder, it's good to remember that love lifts us up to where we belong. All you need is love. And from one perspective, that's so true. And when you contextualize it in various other perspectives where you really draw that out, is where you can see its power and its magical gifts it has for us. So, my friends out there, stay vulnerable, stay courageous. It's heroic to get back out there with your shoulders back. Something I've had to learn, which is not easy, because that is a wild ride and a wild journey, and something we'll talk about in depth later too as we go. But keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for this Valentine's Day, that it's the one force, if you want to look at it as a force, that brings those parts of us together within ourselves first in various ways, and then with others. And should you be in a position where, if you're watching this right now, or you've experienced this, or you think back on some memories, it's still beyond time. It's not. This is what's amazing. Maybe you agree with this, maybe you don't, but it's not locked in some place in time. This is a flowing thing. So we may see it as a memory, but it's still alive in there for us to, and maybe locked within us, where a seed is just wanting to burst out. We may not see that at all right now, but it's not just in the past. It depends on how you view time, which is a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you feel like you missed those opportunities to do that, if your consciousness wasn't aware of that, that's okay. It doesn't matter. You can be aware now, and if this speaks to you, maybe you can even view it differently now, because guess what? You can. This matrix we're living in is far more varied than people may think. It's not stagnant, past, present, future, and just that's the way it is. I think it's multi-layered and not so set in stone. So I hope this has served you well this Valentine's Day, given you a different way to look at it. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Love to hear what you guys think about this subject and topic. We will explore these things further as we go, but I hope this has served you well. So take care, everybody. Godspeed. And as always, wherever you are, hopefully you're enjoying your journey. Happy Valentine's Day to all. Peace.
It is strange to think. I haven't seen you since a month. I have seen the new moon, but not you. I have seen sunsets and sunrises, but nothing of your beautiful face.
It's very good, William.